Welcome back. Tennessee Valley, I'm Matt Ryerson. I am not Dan Howell, as you know. Dan's on vacation, although we just named a dog in Dan's honor while he was gone. So I think Dan will be very impressed when he comes back. We'll see. We have a couple exciting developments here in the community, a couple announcements I want to give you. The Joy School, which is an acronym, Jesus, Others, Yourself School, has a fundraiser dinner and silent auction Thursday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 5 to 7, First Presbyterian Church. If you'd like tickets for the Joy School fundraiser dinner and silent auction, just simply call 476-5584, or you could find them, Joy School, on Facebook. Also, who's on first? This is pretty neat. Main Street Cleveland is putting on some events at the First Street Square, and I don't know if you've had an opportunity to go to that new park down there on First Street, right behind the police department, the Cleveland Police Department. Every Thursday in April, over lunch from 12 to 1, they're doing a brown bag lunch concert series, and it kind of segueing into what we're going to talk about here in just a moment. They're going to have some special guests on April 7th. Vocal Rhapsody is going to be there, the 14th Quadrant D, the 21st Olam, I think. I hope I'm saying that right. April 28th, the Cleveland Community Stage Band is a special event. And then something that my friend Nancy Kaysen would have me point out is this Friday, or not this Friday, but the following Friday, April 15th, at the Museum Center 5 Points, right downtown there. Cherry's Jubilee is coming up. Cherry's Jubilee is a fundraiser for the Allied Arts Council of the Cleveland Bradley Chamber of Commerce, and you can probably see these posters out and about. Cherry's Jubilee is a great event. It's done some amazing fundraising. It's raised about $250,000 for Allied Arts in the schools, which I know is probably very close to your heart. Music and art. They've done a fantastic job. It's a great event, has a lot of interesting art, fantastic food. So put that on your calendar. Next Friday, April 15th, Museum of 5 Points, 6 to 8. You can get tickets at the Chamber of Commerce, or I know the Red Ribbon where Nancy Kaysen's at. So we have some special guests this morning. This is an exciting grant in our community. And one thing I love about this show and what they do for our community is they highlight some things that people might not otherwise run into. I think yesterday we had a champion MMA fighter that was here, which was very interesting. Maybe not a lot of people knew. And we have a special grant. But before we jump to our guests, I think we have a video that we're going to cue up for you to get an idea what the hammered dulcimer is.
The 5th grade students of Arnold Memorial Elementary School have enjoyed the way that their teacher, Mrs. Swartzel, has helped them put the I'm in the Band Dulcimer grant to great use. They began working on their instruments in January, from painting the cardboard sound box, to stringing the instruments, to tuning and beginning to learn to play them. This dulcimer grant helped them create music through building and playing dulcimers. 45 students in the 5th grade this year were honored enough to take part. They also had the privilege of using their dulcimers to accompany world-renowned Stephen Humphreys.
A national grand champion dulcimer player. And if you don't know what a dulcimer is now, when you leave this concert, you certainly will. So could you give Mr. Stephen Humphreys his applause?
Well, I play the hammered dulcimer. And this instrument's a little different than the other dulcimers you see up here. I'll explain that as we go. But before I talk anymore, I'm just going to go ahead and play some music. Is that okay with you? Yeah. All right.
The students, teachers, and parents of Arnold Memorial School listened while Mr. Humphreys shared his passion for music through playing the instruments that he used to bring pieces to life.
This is what we call a damper pedal. Damper pedal. And the pedal brings these two bars down. If I press the pedal down, the bars come down, and press on the strings and it changes the sound. Listen to this. This is without the damper pedal. Then this is with the damper pedal. You hear the different sounds? Yeah, so there's some different sounds that we can get with this instrument. It's called a tambourine. Has everyone seen one of these? Okay. Well, I'm going to show you a couple of different things that you can do with it. You might have not seen it played like this.
After the students of Arnold Memorial School implemented their new learned skills of concert etiquette, one person from each class was chosen to accompany the grade 5 students. This way, not only the 5th grade students benefited from this grant, but all the students, teachers, and parents of Arnold Memorial Elementary School.
Wow, amazing video. We have our guests here today who are going to talk a little bit about what you just saw. We have Stephen Humphreys, who is with Lee University, is a National Grand Master Champion. I'm sure I'm not saying that right, but something
National champion.
National champion, pretty extraordinary in the hammered dulcimer. And then Seema Swartzel. Did I say that right? Perfect. Wow, how about that? She is with Arnold Elementary. She's our music specialist.
Yes.
This video we just saw, can you tell us a little bit, what is that? That's a grant that we've received here locally?
I wrote a grant and was graciously funded by the Bradley Cleveland Education Foundation here in town. And what they did is they funded this grant, and the name of it was I'm in the Band. And the children were able to build lap dulcimers. They had to build them from the ground up. They had to paint the soundboard. We were out in the middle of winter outside painting the soundboards on each side. They had to glue them together. They had to glue on the fretboard. My husband graciously helped string 25 dulcimers, worked very hard on that at home. And then we brought them in, and the children had to learn to play them.
Wow,
and
that is interesting from the ground up. But let me ask you, what is a dulcimer? I think a lot of our viewers like myself probably don't even know what that instrument is.
Well, the dulcimer has its roots in a couple of different countries. There's a German instrument called a Scheinholt that's very similar, but it's really an American instrument. It was built by the early Appalachians that came over from Ireland and Germany, and they created this instrument out of native woods, and it usually just has 3 or 4 strings. And the ones we used were tuned in a way so that it's almost like a drone sound, like a bagpipe would be, where the children play a melody, and then the other 2 strings are drone strings. So it's very, very kid-friendly for the children to be able to participate in it. They built them, and they were playing them the first week, playing melodies on them the very first week.
Wow.
And so they were so thrilled because they had such early success with them.
Right.
But when I wrote the grant, I thought about the social studies implication, because they need to understand how that American music influenced history.
Right.
And this was a great example of that, because this is an American instrument. And there's 2 different types of dulcimers. We built lap dulcimers, the ones you put in your lap and you place them across your lap and play them with a pick and a small stick. So we hand out picks and sticks, and we play. And the other type is a hammered dulcimer, which has about 90 strings and uses small, very lightweight hammers to hit the strings in order to make the sound.
Is that what we saw Stephen playing?
Stephen plays a hammered dulcimer. My children were playing lap dulcimers, but they're very compatible because they're tuned in a very similar way. And so the children were able to play with Stephen. This grant kind of came to my mind before I was even hired by Cleveland City Schools. This is my first year with them. Stephen and I took a class this summer together at Lee University about ORF training, which is a style of teaching. And I saw him play, and I said, if I write a grant, would you be willing to come and play with my students? And he said, yes. And so this was in the back of my mind, to build these dulcimers, teach the children to play them, then have Stephen come in and do a workshop with us, and then perform with Stephen. And it just all started to fall into place after the grant was very graciously funded. And so we were very blessed to have our PTO also give us a small mini grant to help us continue the funding for our children to be able to do this. I work with kids that are, if they don't get a lot of opportunities for things like this.
Right.
So if we don't provide those opportunities, they're not going to happen.
Right.
And so you could see by the smiles on the kids' faces and their excitement about getting the chance to play with Stephen, that it just created a great deal of excitement and pride in our students, which is really the best feeling of all.
Well, you just think about, we just had the national championship basketball game, and what it would be like for an elementary student at Arnold to play with one of the players on that national championship team. And here you have the equivalent of that, where they're breaking up their homemade instruments. They're breaking those out and playing with a national champion.
Yes.
So Stephen, tell us, how did that become? How do you become the national champion? How did you even get started with this instrument?
Well, I was first introduced to the instrument through the music of a man named Rich Mullins. He was a contemporary Christian artist, singer, songwriter, and hammered dulcimer was one of the instruments that he played. So I first heard it on some of his recordings. And then a family in my church bought one, and I was over at their house one day, and they let me start playing on it, and I just kind of got hooked and fell in love with it.
Wow.
And then with the national competition, that's held at a festival called the Walnut Valley Festival in Winfield, Kansas. And takes place once a year. They have a competition there, and I had the opportunity to go out there a few times and won it in 2007.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's a great honor. And it's an interesting story, because my guess is, and maybe you can help me with this, we have a piano at my house, and I have some friends, when I go to their house, they have a piano sitting over in the corner, and typically they're getting really dusty and they hold pictures very nicely. But I don't go to too many homes where they have a hammered dulcimer set up in the corner. How common is this instrument?
There are more of them than you would think, but still it's not the most common instrument.
Right.
Now
they look
all the time.
They look similar to, like, maybe a combination between for lack of a better word, a guitar and a piano. Is there something? Is it comparable to something, or is it?
In some ways, yes. It's basically like if you took a piano, opened up the lid, and just played straight on the strings. That's basically the concept of the hammer dulcimer. In fact, the hammer dulcimer is an American instrument. It's kind of the American version of an instrument that's been around for quite a while, which was actually a predecessor of the piano.
Right.
So the piano has, you know, all these strings inside, and whenever you press a key, it activates a hammer that hits a string inside the piano. And so this is basically a piano without the keyboard.
Okay. Yeah. See, that makes sense to me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So if your student goes to Arnold, they may be participating in this program, but if they would want, if some of our viewers would want to learn more or find out how they could even maybe try out a hammered dulcimer or a lap dulcimer, am I saying that right?
That's correct.
How could they go about that? Are the resources available locally?
Actually, when I worked through a company called Backyard Music. It's online. The owner is David Cross, and he and I worked together in order to buy enough instruments, because the children built them in tandem. They worked as partners, and we did 25 dulcimers. But there are kits available, and they're very easy to put together. You know, my 5th graders were able to put them together in a group with just one instructor, me. And so the instructions were very easy. We went home and built one weekend and said, hey, this is exactly as easy as it says it is. And we put them together over a period of weeks. And, you know, in one afternoon, I think you could probably put one together, string it, and start to play it. So it's very easy. If it's kid friendly, it's going to be friendly to anyone.
Wow, yeah.
And so that's a great way to do it. But there's a lot of online resources. Go to YouTube and type in dulcimer.
Okay.
And you'll see all different kinds of things, tutorials on YouTube, all different kinds of things. I was able to show my children to convince them how easy it was just by looking on YouTube and getting a tutorial. And
we were talking off camera, it's beautiful music. So it's easy to get hooked, and I can see why you would get so attracted to this type of instrument and this type of music. So, thank you all for coming on this morning. And again, this is Stephen Humphreys, a national champion here in our community, 2007 national champion. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back and wrap things up. Thanks for joining us this morning.